How many meals should you eat per day when it comes to fat loss? Most people eat 3 square meals: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Some people skip breakfast. Some even eat only 1 meal per day. You've probably even seen bodybuilders who eat 6 or more meals per day out of Tupperware containers, because it's always out of Tupperware containers. So what's the best? Does eating 6 small meals boost your metabolism, or is it skipping breakfast which lights the fire instead? Thankfully, we have studies these days providing guidance to answer that exact question. In this study, the subjects were split into 2 groups. Group A, who ate 2 meals per day, and Group B, who ate 6 meals per day. The total daily calories and macros were exactly the same across the 2 groups. The study used a whole body calorimeter, which measures oxygen consumed and carbon dioxide produced by each subject, to precisely calculate the amount of energy that was expended. Which group do you think burnt more calories? Well, it's a trick question because both groups actually had the same total daily energy expenditure. The 2 meal group had 2 large spikes in energy expenditure after meals, whereas the 6 meal group had 6 smaller spikes. But the sum total, when you add the spikes up, was actually the same. There have been plenty of other studies since asking the same question, and all have drawn the same conclusion. How many calories you consume is more important for fat loss than precisely when you consume those calories or how you distribute them across the day. Stressing about precisely how you structure your meals throughout the day is kind of like trying to micromanage your 8-hour shift at work. Whether you do 4 hours, then have a lunch break, then do another 4 hours, or if you do 4 lots of 2-hour stints, you're still getting paid for 8 hours either way. You're eating the same amount of calories either way too. So that's great news essentially, right? You don't have to eat every few hours if you don't want to. You also don't have to skip breakfast. Personally, I love breakfast, and I'm guessing you probably do too. So we'll go deeper into the nuts and bolts of meal timing, but just make sure you really take that on board. It's your total daily and weekly calorie intake that matters most. Now, you want to set up your diet in a way that suits your lifestyle, not the other way around. So with that being said, structuring your meals in a certain way might help you even more so with sticking to your calorie target if it means you can better manage your hunger and satiety signals. Managing hunger is a really important one. This study concluded that hunger itself was the main predictor of someone's weight loss success. So if we can set your diet up in a way to minimize hunger, you'll be more likely to stick to it and then successfully lose fat. Your food choices, what you eat, matters most when it comes to reducing hunger. We'll make more videos about this topic in the future. Structuring your meals in a way to minimize hunger is still going to be the best thing that you can do though. Your primary hunger and satiety hormones are leptin, which is the satiety hormone which signals to your brain that you're full, and ghrelin, a hunger-inducing peptide hormone. Now, ghrelin is usually produced when your stomach is empty. You'll know all about the hunger in your stomach if you've gone a long time without a meal. That's ghrelin doing all of that talking. Eating a meal reduces ghrelin, so you're not as hungry anymore, which makes perfect sense, right? But leptin is the opposite. Leptin tells us we're full when we finish a meal. So one great strategy to minimize hunger whilst dieting is to opt for larger, less frequent meals rather than opting for smaller, more frequent meals. Having really small meals might not provide enough of a response to reduce your ghrelin, which is, again, the hunger hormone, and increase your leptin, the satiety hormone. Opting for larger meals ensures that you'll actually be satisfied afterwards, rather than having a whole bunch of small meals and still constantly feeling like you're always hungry. But won't having 2 to 4 larger meals mean you'll be hungry in between meals? Well, I mean, maybe at the start it will, especially if you are a chronic snacker or a grazer. But you can change your internal body clock and the way that you respond to the different sizes of meals that you're eating. The message I often tell my clients is this: hunger is normal. It's completely to be expected because you're in a dieting phase after all. Make the best food choices to support your satiety and set up your eating schedule in a way that makes sense, in a way that suits you. If you're switching from chronic snacking to a structured eating approach of say 2 to 4 large meals, there might be some hunger in between meals initially. But hunger is also a little bit like an emotion. It comes and it goes. So you do have the choice as to whether you honor that hunger by having a meal or simply get on with what it is you are planning on doing. After a while, your body will start expecting meals at certain times, and your hunger and satiety hormones will adapt around that too. Now you'll only be hungry before a meal, and you'll be really satisfied because that meal was actually large and filling, not just some small snack that feels like it barely touches the side. So to summarize, when you eat does not matter nearly as much as how much you eat. Calories are king. There are no magical benefits to fasting or eating 6 small meals for your metabolism, but by creating your own eating schedule and and sticking to it, you can manipulate your own internal body clock and tell your body when to be hungry and how to be full. So now all you need is some help creating the plan. Lucky for you, we've got a guide just for that. If you want your own copy of our meal planning made simple guide, structuring your own fat loss meal plans, simply drop a comment below using the word plan and I'll send that right over.